Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Balwani and I am from a morning class. Today, I will talk about the definition of approach, strategy, method, technique, and extension. And the first material is the definition of approach. The learning approach can be interpreted as our starting point or point of view towards the learning process, which refers to view about the occurrence of something, a process that is still very general in nature, in which it accommodates, inspires, strengthens, and underlies learning methods with a certain theoretical scope. And view from the approach, there are two types of learning approach. And the example number one, student-centered approach. In student-centered, almost all learning is directed at the active role of the student themselves. And number two, teacher-centered approach. This approach focuses on the teacher, where a teacher or lecturer is in full control of the learning process itself, starting from time management, material management, and other aspects. And there are 8 types of approach in learning, and they are: number one, contextual approach, and number two, constructivist approach, and number three is problem-solving approach. Number 4 is inductive approach. Number 5, deductive approach. Number 6, open-ended approach. Number 7 is scientific approach. And the last one, number 8, process approach. And we go to explain the definition of strategy. The word strategy comes from Latin, namely strategia, which means the art of using plans to achieve goals. Strategy learning can also be interpreted as a pattern of learning activities which teachers choose and use contextually according to characteristics student, school condition, surrounding environment, and learning objective which has been formulated. And the first preliminary learning activities, the way the teacher introduces the lesson material through illustrative example of everyday life or ways the teacher determines the benefit of studying certain subject will greatly influence students' learning motivation. And second, conveying information. In this activity, the teacher will establish the definitive information, concept, rules, and principles what needs to be presented to students. And 4, tests. There are 2 types of tests or assessment that are usually carried out by most teachers, namely pre-test and post-test. And number 5, follow-up activities, continue or follow-up activities. Regularly, the principal has to do with the result of the test that have been carried out. And C, explain the definition of method. The definition of method in the context of teaching refers to a systematic approach or procedure used to achieve specific learning objectives. And methods in teaching can vary depending on various factors such as the subject matter, the needs of the student, and the desired outcomes of the lesson. One of the key aspects of methods in teaching is that they provide structure and organization to the instructional process. And method also play a crucial role in engaging students and promoting active learning. And they provide opportunities for students to participate, interact, and apply their knowledge and skills. And furthermore, methods in teaching also serve as a means of assessing student understanding and process. And this method is important to note that methods in teaching are not fixed or rigid. They can be adapted and modified based on the specific needs and characteristics of the student. And now we go to number 4 or D, explain the definition of technique. The definition of technique in context of teaching refers to specific student strategies or tools used by teachers to facilitate learning within a particular method. And one of important aspect of technique is their ability to promote active learning. Active learning involves students actively participating in the learning process rather than passively retrieving information. And furthermore, techniques in teaching also serve as a means of assessment by incorporating assessment strategies within the techniques. And teacher can gather feedback on student learning and process. And effectiveness teachers are able to select and adapt techniques based on the specific needs and characteristics of their student. And moreover, techniques